Hey everyone, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Derrick Espadas. He is a Tucson-based entrepreneur, educator, and financial strategist who turned personal adversity into purpose by helping others succeed in business and life. As the founder of Spades Business Services and a lifelong mentor, he blends academic expertise and lived experience to guide growing businesses and uplift his community. How are you doing today, Derrick?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. We're all moved in here, still living out of boxes, but that's just because my ADHD won't let me focus on a task. I'm going to bounce around, so we'll get there eventually. But yeah, doing much better than I was a couple weeks ago. So was really looking forward to getting back, having you on. I really enjoyed our conversations. You're doing awesome things, and there's people out there that need to get to know you.
I can empathize with what you're going through. Right before I got on here, a bunch of deliveries for our own moving into our house, and the dogs are excited about people just coming to the house. So there was a lot of ruckus going on.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. So you're Tucson based. Have you been there for a while, or are you newer to the area?
I have been here for about 30 years now. Grew up in Los Angeles, went to school out in Indiana just to do something new, and I was glad I experienced something new and realized that Indiana is not for me. And one of the big things that brought me to Tucson was I never wanted to see snow again. Never.
Yeah, the Midwest, we get it. I always tell people we get all four seasons and we get them good and hard. So if you're not ready for winter or summer, then you're
Well,
better
and
off
it's
going.
not even it's growing up in Los Angeles, snow for us is there's a mountain up there called Big Bear. And you go up and you come down, maybe go to the beach the same day. So the whole walking through snow, and after all, it turns black. So of course they send you the nice, pretty pictures of like snowmen and snowball fights. They don't show the black and the walking on ice. And people had fun making. They told me about freezing rain, and I'm like, oh, they're just making fun of the kid from LA. And then I discovered freezing rain, and how come I couldn't stand upright when it was raining? And oh, it's because there's ice all over.
Definitely a culture shock.
Yes, yes. Now I prefer the 115 degrees of
Mm,
just instant death of going outside.
yeah, yeah. Well, we have that here too. But anyway, so awesome. Well, you've been there, 30 years in the area, so obviously you have your haunts. If you have friends coming into town that have never visited before, where are you going? What are you doing? And what's for dinner?
So for dinner, because it's very hard, there are way too many Mexican restaurants here. And they're going to tell you the fancy ones. No, Chinito Gordo, which is the fat Chinaman. Amazing. And then just kind of the hole in the wall. So out here, a lot of street vendors, just places without names, places without health codes. Those are the places to go to.
That's accurate. The worse the condition it's in, the better the food because they don't have time to clean, right? They're busy serving people,
Yeah.
right? So
And when I lived in Los Angeles, and we were go to a lot of Chinese restaurants out there, Vietnamese, and out there they have the big letter on every window, the health rating. We wouldn't go to any place we wouldn't go to an A because that's just you need at least a B, but really you're looking for a C because that's where it's the grandma on the back. Yeah, that's the good stuff.
absolutely. So outside of food, where are you taking people for fun? Like, what are the activities out there that you like to do?
That one gets harder because I'm older now. In the 20s it's like I know the bar, and now it's do we have to go out? Do we can we just stay home and watch Netflix? But I think it's kind of funny that we're actually going this weekend. It's called the Desert Museum. So it's an outdoor kind of they have animal exhibits, but it's all the animals that I can watch in my front yard. So, but we still go there. It's a bit out of town. They have bears and a couple of things we don't normally see here. It's just a good walk to kind of go around there and enjoy and be outside, and it's fun. And everyone I'm taking there enjoys it because it is, they have the rattlesnakes behind cases, the big scorpions, all the deadly stuff that you don't want to see in person. And so people do get excited when they come to town and we take them there.
That's all fine behind glass, but
It
anyways,
is, and I'm amazed that they also have to put up the signs of "Don't tap the glass" because there are people that want to agitate the rattlesnakes, and it's like it's all fun and games until they break the glass.
Yep, yep. I watched Harry Potter growing up and read it, so I know what happens. So
Yes.
anyway,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, what can you tell us about what you're doing?
So I am just trying to save people some time with some accounting. And you chose to interview an accountant. That's a brave move. Like, I mean, I find it exciting. Other people don't, but that's why I do it. Is for whatever reason I can see the stories and the numbers and what's going on. And a lot of what I do is I don't even try to pretend that people have a strong interest in it. It's let me do it for you. Because when you had some idea and a passion, you weren't thinking about sitting in front of a computer staring at QuickBooks, but it has to be done. And I would say the better the person doing it, the less worries you're going to have. There's always something that comes up, and I actually don't use QuickBooks a lot. I kind of hate QuickBooks. We use other programs. One of the reasons is QuickBooks. Always tell people the beautiful thing about QuickBooks is it's always updating. The horrible thing about QuickBooks is it's always updating. And once you swear you have it down, they move everything around. And I'll be on a client call and they'll have a question. And I'll share my screen. I'm like, oh, it's over here. Okay, wait, maybe I swear I know what I'm doing. I swear. And it's always moving around. So that's one of the things we'll help people out with is what is the best system for you? It's not always QuickBooks, that's just a popular one. We'll get you on some other programs. And the funny thing is, so there is one program I always suggest to people, and I love it. It's called Wave Accounting. And I suggest it to people so much they ask me if I get like a cut from Wave, and I do not. I actually get paid by QuickBooks to get you onto QuickBooks, and I will actually get people off of QuickBooks all the time. I think 1% of our clients still just is dedicated to QuickBooks, and everyone else, I'm like, I don't care if I get paid by them. I'm getting you to something better.
How'd you get started doing this? Is this something you always wanted to do? You were in high school dreaming of QuickBooks and Wave and all that, or what
Wow,
brought
it
you here?
wasn't that lame. Well, accountants get all the girls, so for me, I grew up in a family business, so I was doing payroll at 10. But this is paper charts, QuickBooks version like 1, which my parents still have on their computer and still use. But it never really spoke to me. It was a thing and it was a knowledge set that I acquired. I think for me was when I was in college, I actually got a tax bill. I was working managing apartments, got huge bonuses, but I didn't file the taxes on them. And so I got an IRS letter, and the IRS will tell you you owe them. They will tell you the amount you owe them, but they will still make you file your taxes. And I was ready just to cut them a $10,000 check. That's how much I owed. And they're like, nope, you still got to file your taxes. When I did my taxes, they owed me 4 grand. And I'm like, this is a thing. I should be doing this. And I was able to help people and do their taxes because I told them the story. And then just from there, and then got into the more solid accounting side. But the thing that actually really propelled me was I cheated on a test in accounting. And this is back in paper exams. I didn't know the final question, and so I just ripped off the last page, and I was going to tell the professor he forgot to do it. It's his fault, not mine. We were talking about that, right? I'm going to blame you. And then after I did it, I realized it was not the right thing to do. And so the next day I went back and I was going to tell the professor what I did, and he just looks at me and goes, "We're not going to talk about it." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. We are not going to talk about it, and you are never going to do it again." And for me, that was just a big moment of someone understanding and someone willing to process that these people do dumb things. And what we do is we help people, we don't beat them down. And for me, that was just a big moment of, I want to do that. Whatever he just did, that's what I want to do for people. So most of my clients, when they come around, they're in huge messes. And I want to welcome on, get them straightened out, but I don't want to beat them up. Let's get you figured out. And that's usually what gets them in the mess is they make one mistake and then they don't want to show that mistake and they don't want anyone to see it. And so they just keep building up the mistakes. I just want to
Absolutely.
let them know that it's okay. We all make mistakes. We'll
Yeah.
get you figured out. You don't do it again. You listen to me, you don't do it again. It's okay. We all do it.
What is it that you love most about what you're doing now?
I love, for me, it's figuring out the puzzles. So I love the messes. I really do. Like right for garbage bags of receipts on my dining room table right now. I love going through and putting them in order, figuring out the stories. Like I'll have clients that come to me like this and then they try to explain stuff. And I'm like, oh, I already know. I already know your story through your receipts. And so it's doing that. But I think providing that service to a client of I get it, it's not your thing. It's like me going and trying to help someone out, build a rocket. I don't know how to build a rocket. Show me and having them show me this is what does this and we have this and this does the big boomy thing that gets us off the ground. It's okay that I don't know how to build a rocket. They do, and I can learn and enjoy. It's the same thing with accounting. Like I have that skill set. Let me do it for you so you can do what you're good at. I have clients that ask me to teach them little things, and I will, and then they get excited, and I get excited that they're getting excited, but they're also very like, okay, that's enough. That's all I need to know. That's why I pay you, and you do all the hard stuff. But it's just, providing that environment that it doesn't have to be what we think when you think of, I got to call my account. Like you should want to talk to your accountant. There should be joy on both on my end too. Like I have clients that I see their number come up. I'm like, oh, cool, yay. Here's an hour I get to talk with them and I'm not charging them. I'm just going to enjoy it with them. And I think that's really the experience, both for myself and for them. Of this guy's goofy. Let's call him. He'll tell me bad accounting jokes.
What's the avatar of your average client look like, or what are the pain points that somebody might be dealing with that if they're going through X, Y, or Z, you're the person they should be talking?
I think it's really kind of the newer, I'm going to start a business and I don't know what to do. Or I would probably even say I started a business, I've been at it for a year and I don't know what I'm doing still. And so again, kind of creating that environment of it's okay. Like the only reason I know anything is because A, I grew up in it. So I've seen a lot of stuff since I was a kid. And B, I've gone to fancy business schools. And I think they both come together to give me a lot of insight on what's going on. But again, that experience of like, I think there's a lot of noise. There's all these books that say, do this and you'll be a millionaire. And people buy into it and they're like, I'm in year one and I'm not making any money. And I'm like, you're in year one. You're supposed to be bleeding money in year one. Like, you're nowhere near stable. You're still trying to figure it out. And it's okay. And that's, for me, that's what I've seen even now. Like, so the breaking through a lot of that noise of you're supposed to have a yacht by now and a private jet. And no, you're right where you're supposed to be. And even more importantly, what is that person's goals? Because if your goal is not to have the jet and the yacht, why work towards that? Like, work towards the things that are going to make you happy, not the things that someone is telling you to make you happy.
No, absolutely. That's great advice. People need to understand that they get to define what their success is. Do you get to retire your spouse? Do you get to travel? Do you not have to live in your business every single day? You can take a week off. It doesn't have to be a yacht. So,
I'm still learning that one though.
yeah.
I was just talking to someone today. My laptop comes with me on every vacation, but I enjoy it. Like that's plus my wife sleeps in, and I need something to do for 4 hours.
Right. Awesome. So, what about power partners? Who do you synergize well with? What other professions or professionals out there do you find a lot of the ability to collaborate or refer back and forth with?
A lot of work with financial advisors, and that's because they're kind of in a similar situation. Someone will come to them saying, "Hey, help me plan for the future." But they're not organized. They don't have the information they need for the financial advisor to help them out. So I do the cleanup work, get them put together, and it really works out both ways. So when we onboard a client, I tell them we're going to triage them because they do usually come to me with a mess. So I tell them we're going to stop the bleeding, get the taxes caught up, get your books in order. Then we'll put you in systems so that this doesn't happen again. And the third part is looking to the future, which most entrepreneurs don't think about. As an accountant, I am very risk averse. So getting the 0.00001% you get in a savings account, that's a little risky even for me. So the future stuff is not my sweet spot. So I'd usually refer out to financial advisors. There's a lot of financial advisors I do not trust. And so I kind of have a close, maybe I think across the country, maybe 10 different people that I will refer out to and work with them just because there is that trust factor. I do not want to send a client to someone to have a bad experience or even worse, to be taken advantage of. So keeping a close knit of really great people to work with, and that's very important to me. I think right now we're in a big age of products. Everyone's an expert. Everyone does AI and they're the top of the list of everything. I don't need products. I need a professional. So I need someone who can tell me the statistical operations of AI, the statistics behind SEO. I don't need a product. It's even like, even when, especially with the SEO, I have clients who do that. They're all white labeling from the same program because I see their invoices. I don't need that. I need someone who actually works and does a job as opposed to just a product. They may sell products, but they know the products and which one's appropriate rather than just saying, this is applicable to everyone, because it's not.
What advice would you give to a new or aspiring entrepreneur?
Hire me immediately at large sums of money. I would suggest to a new entrepreneur is to find a mentor, or mentors, even better. And you can usually find them at a lot of libraries. They have programs where retired entrepreneurs are there to help. There's this strange balance of planning and just doing. And it's go find it. And your only way you're going to find that balance is by going out and likely failing. And but you got to go do something. I know here in Tucson there's an incubator and it's attached with the university here down Arizona. Um, and the kids go file paperwork. They're technically CEOs. They form these companies, but they don't do anything. And so I take them because there's a huge window out front and it's downtown, and I point them across the street and I'm like, "Who is he?" And it's same hot dog vendor there, and they're like, "Well, he's a hot dog vendor." I'm like, "He's an entrepreneur. He's selling a product. He's getting money. Stop pretending like they're doing these pitch competitions and never really doing. Go do something. Go, even if it's not the thing you want to do." And I often, when people do talk to me about starting a business, I'll have them start off with like an MLM kind of a thing. See if you're willing to put the hours into it. And then, okay, maybe a franchise after that, and you built up some money because there's still rules in place to kind of guide you. And then, make some money there, then do that weird, crazy thing ever that everyone tells you is a horrible idea, but now you have income and you have experience and you have hours. Then go do that, because it's really hard to just jump in and do the crazy idea. A lot of people need the structure.
Absolutely. What would you say is one of the biggest mistakes small business owners make with their finances?
Not hiring again.
There's a
I can
common
see
theme here.
no, but I do think a lot of it is not. I know, it's not separating their personal and their business finances. It's you can't get a clear picture. It makes taxes hard, especially if you do go out and hire someone. There's a lot of hours of, hey, what's this? What's that? And then they're wondering, well, why am I hiring you? You're constantly on the phone asking me questions. Well, it's because we don't know if that sandwich you bought was a legitimate expense for business or it was just you buying a sandwich. And it just makes it hard for people to see what they're spending on their business as opposed to just in life. So I think that's the biggest thing, and the biggest problem I run into, just trying to give businesses clear picture, is really that separation of personal and business. And it's not that hard. Separate bank account, separate credit card. Occasionally it's going to happen where it's the only credit card you have on it. and you're going to buy that sandwich that isn't a big expense, that's okay. But at least set it up so you have the two separate accounts, the two separate Venmo accounts. That's one of the things I see a lot too. I only accept Venmo. You can set up another one. Like, just keep it separated and clean, and you'll have a good idea of what you're bringing in for the business, and then make adjustments so that you're not bleeding money. Not the next year you can be, oh, I bought $5 million sandwiches. Let's bring that down. 500,000 in sandwiches.
How can a strong bookkeeping system help a business grow?
Yeah, I think it's that clarity. You know what's going on. It's also not having the stress. So you can see I see a significant difference in clients after they've hired me and we've cleaned them up. And they've told me too, like, "Oh, I don't need to worry about things." There's always this worry, and that's something we also help them with, is again, they're trying to meet this standard of an image that they have in their mind. And without having a good bookkeeping system, they can't achieve that. They feel like they have that imposter syndrome. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not doing this right. With a good bookkeeping system, they're like, "Oh yeah, I got this." Whether they do it themselves or hire someone, they're just like, "Yeah, it's taken care of." It's you get to my accountant this, and it's like people who say that rarely say my accountant and I feel bad about my business. It's my accountant, my lawyer. When they're throwing out that they have those people in their team, they're doing it with a sense of pride of like, I got this.
Absolutely. What would you say is one mindset shift that helped you turn your life around?
I think it's being open to possibilities. Like, so when I did put on concerts for a while when in my 20s. And so now, even as I like put on like charity events and help out with that, I always tell the team, plan for absolutely everything, but also accept that nothing will go as planned. And so just being fluid to what's going on, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't know that you don't know it until it shows up at your doorstep. Even with accounting, I have a recent client that showed up, and I did not know any of this, but she used to be an employee for the World Bank. And because I was working with her, the reason I was working with her, no one wanted to touch it because it's weird. But if you are an employee of the World Bank, you belong to no country. And they actually have their own little tax guidance booklet. I knew nothing about this, but I was willing to say, as soon as she said, this is going to be weird, I told her, I'm in. Like, let's do this. And so working on that of how to structure her retirement based on now she's becoming a US citizen, so now she gets taxed. And so, how are we going to structure things? Because she's coming from a world of no tax. And I would stay in that world. But now moving into the world where she's taxed. And so, helping her out with that.
Yeah, so she's crazy. Got it. No, I want to go the other way. No, that's awesome. I really like that. Not to say that hosting a charity event or shows is this way, but it kind of lines up as no plan survives the battlefield, right?
Yeah, no, what do you, and I've been at events where I've not been in charge, which is really hard for me. So I really try not to be in charge. But people get so stressed out that I've had people at charity events leave. And I'm like, what? How can you do that? Because they get so overwhelmed. And then me being who I am, I step up and start putting pieces into place. But it's just like you can't expect everything to go as planned. It's just like a business. Like there's a difference between what you have on paper and what you're doing on a daily basis. And I try to guide people away from I love projections. I have spreadsheets all the time. I'm projecting everything in my life. But just because you planned on acquiring 3 clients every week doesn't mean you are. And what are you going to do when you don't? And instead of feeling that stress, just accept that what's on paper isn't what comes about in life.
Absolutely. And then I love this question. Why you? What sets you apart with what you're doing versus everybody else out there doing something similar?
So I've started in networking groups. I started introducing myself as I am one of 4 accountants in all the country with a personality. So, I mean, I'm not everyone's fit, but if you want to actually come in a place where you want to talk to your accountant, I think I'm a good pick for that. I've had clients that were in bad situations financially, and then they just found that right client, and the first thing they do is call me, and I'm like, that's great. And I'm like, how does your wife feel about it? And they're like, oh, you're the first person I called. I'm like, call the wife, call the wife. But to be in a position where I'm the first person you call when you hear great news, like that is amazing. That, like, I feel so honored. I feel great when clients just start seeing that they're seeing their self-worth. And that is something I would say that we do differently. We will talk to our clients about feelings because I grew up in that family business. Even as a kid, I could tell when business wasn't going well by how my father would come home. And so there's this connection between our money and our business because it becomes such our identity that we'll talk about that. Hey, how are you feeling today? Like, I'll see the numbers. I'm like, are you okay with this? You realize you're going to bounce back. And just walking clients through that emotional journey because there's a lot of emotion involved in it. And also just being on the plus side of that, of hearing all the great news. I had a client that just had a new baby boy, and I was on that list of, hey, he was born, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I get to be part of that. I get to be family, and that's really what I want. Like, yes, the money's nice. I will work with jerks that pay me large, large, large amounts. But I prefer the people who just are being happy, and I get to help them be happy by taking away the stuff they hate, the accounting, and so being part of their lives.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be an upcharge for jerks. So anyway,
It's the pain in the ass tax is what I call it.
exactly. And I don't know if it's that accountants don't have personality. You just got to catch them when it's their turn with it, right? They just share one.
I've been to a lot of accounting conferences.
It's just when it's their turn, you'll see it in the 15 minutes. But anyway, I know when it comes to this, there's all the rabbit holes we can go down. But in general, is there anything that I missed or I failed to ask that you wanted to add?
No, I think you covered it. I just appreciate that you do this. I've watched your videos. Just giving entrepreneurs an outlet. But not only the outlet, like you're connecting people. So, when people go and watch the video, let's say this one, it's not so much like, oh, I need an accountant. It's someone just said they needed an accountant. He seems to be the right fit. And I think this is a really great format because you get personality and all that. And it's just doing web searches. You don't get that from people, although I have hired some people just because they had their dogs on their website, but you normally don't get that, and so it's hard to tell. And we are trying to build relationships and trust with everyone, and it's just hard to do from a business card. So this is I appreciate what you're doing. And we've been fortunate to have some conversations before this, and look forward to that. And I appreciate your career as a free safety.
Yeah, clearly. No, and I'll stick to it. And you call me a liar, prove it. Anyway, no, I really do appreciate that. It's the next logical step after reading somebody's on about page. All right, do I want to meet them? All right, I want to hear who they are in their own voice. Let them do it. So awesome. Well, for those that do want to know more, that have more questions, that like the idea of an accountant with a personality, how can they find you? Where can they get a hold of you?
So LinkedIn is the best place. That's where I kind of hang out. And then after that, like, yes, I have a phone number. I'm gonna be very honest. Don't call it. I don't answer. For those who are privy to it, even clients call my wife, and then she comes in here with a look saying, "Call your people." I've just the LinkedIn email person. Email is another great way because it sets up like my to-do list for the day. Yeah, those are usually the best ways to get a hold of me. And I'm always networking, so it's always, even on LinkedIn, you'll see where I'm at, and you can hunt me down and even meet people on your own so that you can build your network. Because I do think that's where a lot of businesses lack, is that they're not out there. They want people to know who they are, but they're not taking the steps to allow people to know who they are. So let's jump
Yep,
in.
absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people are overly shy about it, and I don't know. Just go read How to Win Friends and Influence People. You'll be better off for it. That's always my advice when people are wanting to network.
I had a client that she would say, I'm an introvert, but my business is not. And I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah. Like, you just got to put on be authentic, but you can amp it up for like an hour because most networking events are an hour. I like the speed networking ones. And then they'll say, oh, if you end up in a room alone, just come back out and we'll hook you up with someone. I take that 5 minutes to kind of just, I get to be alone.
Absolutely perfect. Well, if anybody would like to get a hold of Derrick, like I said, I'm sharing all that in the show notes, so feel free, have a conversation. He's the exact same into one-to-one as he is here, so don't be shy. If anybody would like to get a hold of me, you can find me at ikag.me. You can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with our growing community of awesome people like Derrick. If you were somebody you know would like to be interviewed, you can also apply on the website. But Derrick, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you sharing all this because it's important. To your points earlier, a lot of people need to realize that you don't have to do it all yourself. Yes, you're self-employed. Yes, you're an entrepreneur, but hire out the stuff that's hard that you don't want to focus on. Spend time doing the money-making activities.
So
But let's all take that to heart. Let's go have an awesome day and grow our circles. All right.